Whoever is here, we're going to learn the halacha today about music and music during sefira. So first of all, this inyan halacha of music during sefira is not mentioned, not in the Rambam, not in the Tur, not in the Shulchan Aruch, not in the Ramah, not in the Levush. Basically, it's not mentioned such thing. Don't listen to music during sefira. The first one who brings the inyan of closer to it is the Magen Avraham. Then everybody quotes the Magen Avraham, the Alter Rebbe, the Mishnah Berurah, that it says if you do Sudas Eirusin, over there it says you're allowed to do. You cannot do Sudas Nisuin. You cannot do. Don't make chasanas during Sefira, but you could do Sudas Eirusin. But it says, but however, don't do Rikudim Mechoilas. That's the lashon. Don't do Rikudim, dancing Mechoilas, meaning dancing and mechoilas. You could mean one of the inyanim of mochel, which is mochel is also mean you dance in a circle, but it also mean with the music. So that's where they take it from. So so it comes out like this. So mitzad ikar adin in halacha is not mentioned anything about like I said about music osur during sefira. The first one again who mentioned is Magen Avraham, and then that's become a minhag. People that's minhag, and that's also very careful. The lashon of Rav Moshe. He does not say the halacha. He says the minhag. He says b'dvar shmias klei shir b'mei sefira. At the end of the tshuva, it says imkin haminhag sheni toisef b'mei sefira afal yochid. Okay, I'm going to say soon what he's saying over here. So basically, somebody asked him about music during sefira. He said like this. The shaila is a music not only during sefira. That's okay, like I said, the minhag became during sefira because of the aveilus. We don't have music. The question now becomes if it's live music or it's a music when you hear on a CD player or any other devices. And b'chalal, the shaila is not only during sefira, like I said. If you look in the halachas of Ilchas Tisha B'Av and Tov Kuf Samech over there, the whole parak talk about what we do during, not during even the 3 weeks of Tisha B'Av, what we do during the Golus time. When Golus, we have certain general inyane aveilus during Golus. One of them is not listening to music. How we listen the whole year to music? What's their tatum? So let me briefly go over them. It says like this. Again, that's nothing to do with what I'm reading now. It has to do with the whole year, because when aveilus of Chorban V'Samigdash, it says v'osru kol minei shir. We're not allowed to do any singing. Ben b'kli, ben b'peh. That's according to one opinion. You can't do any singing. During the Golus, when general mourning. Upirush Rashi can go in l'shor b'besamishta. According to Rashi, what the Gemara says, you cannot do any singing, meaning only if you in besamishta, you're going to some kind of party over there. But if you're at home, you're singing alone, you could do it. According to Tosfos, even without any mishta, you're sitting at home, you cannot sing. But davka l'mishrogel v'kach kahude ita v'Yerushalmi d'resh galusa v'koyin v'domich b'zimra. According to the Tosfos, Mitzad Echad is machmir. He says even without mishta you're not allowed to. But he says what kind of music that they aser during the Golus generally. He says there were people like Resh Galusa, very choshev people. And don't forget that was a live music because there's no tapes over there. The way they used to go to sleep and get up, there was an orchestra to put them to sleep and to get them up. So, it was a very chashuva people that could afford an orchestra. The way they go, that's very, very luxurious. You're going to sleep with the music, getting up with the music. That we don't do according to the Tosfos during Golus. But stam singing. It's no isur according to this. Going back according to this, stam playing during the Golus time, klei shir, klei zimra, it's no problem. So that's one heter. Only if you're doing it in such a way, it's a luxurious way, you're going to sleep and getting up with it. Okay, now we still have a question how you're going to treat the CD today. But I'll leave it for later. Then it's like this. Then he brings the Rambam. The bekli osur l'shloeh b'chol inyan. Rambam has a different take on inyan of we're not singing during the Golus. Beklei zimra, that's with the instrument. Bepei says singing alone, it's only with the yain, meaning only if you do mishte hayain, you're sitting with chevra, you're drinking wine, then you want to sing. That's a problem. That's too. It sounds like you're partying on partying and you're singing. That's not allowed to. According to this, doesn't make a difference. Instrument or you're singing without instrument. Okay.
So
I'm going to get there too in a minute. How to do Fabrenk and Kumsitz, whatever you call those gatherings, how do they sing over there? Okay. אבל הוא ביר בתשובת שיילה דאפילו בפה אסור אף בלא משתה. He himself, the Rambam says that you cannot do, Lamaise is machmir. He brings such an opinion, like I said before, if you're in Mishta Ayayin, you couldn't, he says, no, you're not allowed to do it even without Mishta. When Chiluk, so when Lashon Arabi, it doesn't make sense. It's those days, Arabic or Hebrew is not, okay. The Kolchikani Mudivra Nibul, also Lashon Below Melitza Unegina. That depends also what type of song you're singing. If it's singing of Nibul, thing that you're saying over there are nasty stuff by singing, that's you're not allowed to do. Okay. Then you got this. That's the punchline of the tour. If you're singing stam songs, you're saying this man is nice, or like most of the Segele, they're singing the love songs for the woman. That's definitely, it's already shiras. I got that said before. Even not, if something part of it, you're singing how beautiful is this building, how beautiful is this the something is nice. This is nothing to do with Hashem directly. You're just praising, even not divrei agava, even not divrei nibul. It still would be also. Aval muter loymar shiras with tishbochas alayayin beves hamishte. If you say shiras tishbochas la Hashem, even beves hamishte, even you're in a party, mashma it's muter. Okay, now so we have all these opinions. So that's a regular day. So the question would be, how come today we have all this concerts, the Frum concerts, we're talking about the CD playing, all kind of music, wild, not wild. So what's the heter? Okay, so that's the following heter. You could say they're doing it, Shir D'Shbachas L'Hashem. They're singing, they're praising Hashem for all of it. Okay. A second heter you could say, according to those which is only, it's osur with the instrument, without the instrument, that would be okay. That would be the fabrengen. That's shiras t'shvachas l'Hashem. Even bebes hamishta, even drinking wine, let's say, or hanging out with the other alcoholic beverages. Yeah, the same idea would be. But they're doing shiras t'shvachas l'Hashem. They're singing l'Hashem. That would be the heter. Now there is another heter the Bes Yosef brings. That's from the Gemara in Soita. The Gemara says over there, Omar Rav Huna. Zimro the nagde with the bakre shore the gardoy osur. Now we're talking about different professions. In the time of Chazal, we're talking about again live music over there. They used to put a live music in the orchestra for people. They used to work different professions that nagre with the bakre I'm sorry, not nagre, nagdei. Rashi moishches sfinos. People used to row in the boat to push the boat. It says that's allowed to because that was lazarzam b'malachtam. They would get lazy. You need something an upbeat music to get them moving. That you're not doing it for a party. You're doing it for work. Same thing it says bakre, the ox working on the field. You want him to go straight to do his job. So you make a music. The ox works by the bit of the music, he working, that's allowed to. It says, Aval, the gardoe, it's a profession of weaving over there. It says, they used to put the music just for the pleasure. That's not allowed to. So according to this, like this, if somebody needs some music, even for himself to function, he cannot function, he cannot move without music. Oh, in a store, you have a music you want people to buy. It's not for party, it's not a gathering of party. You need it for function. There's another heter where you allowed to do it. It's for moving for. Then the Shevet Alevi Rav Osner brings another heter from a sefer Maharashag. He says whether you're sad, whether you're nerves, you need to calm your nerves. It's a boin. It says atzvus, sadness, or atzabim. It's a nerve, whatever it is. At both, if anything l'refua to feel bad. That some people they don't hear music get depressed. So he says there's a big mitzvah. You could do it too. Again, that's the following atayrim. The Kaf HaChaim bring from Maimar Mordechai a heter if you're doing a music to put a baby to sleep. For you to sleep, we said already, that sounds very luxurious. You're going to sleep with the music, getting up with the music. But for a baby, it's another heter over there. Oh, so according to this, like this, let's go back now to the 9 days. That's what Rav Moshe answered this man.
Sefira.
About, I'm sorry, sefira, thank you, not 9 days. So sefira. Rav Moshe like this. ובדמר שמיעס קלישי במי הספירה. Yes, he says, לאסר גם כשהוא בעצמו. Meaning, the whole idea, what we're talking about, all this halachas, lagabe inyonim of stam during the whole year, it's talking about basically the Besamishte, you're the party for yourself, but there is a teirim. It's either, according to Mandomar, it's not klei shir, it's not instruments. So the minhag of what's the added minhag on sefira? Even you home alone, and according to him, he says is machmir not. It doesn't. So he says over here, yeah. Okay, now he doesn't go into this live music. He says klei shir, or it's a recording. So Rav Vosner brings the way he understood the Rambam. He says according to the Rambam, masha kol klei shir. Today he says the recording, any recording, whether the olden days tape, CD, or whatever other devices you have, it says it's called klei shir. That would be osur. So according to them, some would argue, no, it's not. And I'll tell you why would be a good argument. It's not klei shir. The real live music, usually people don't do it for themselves. Usually it's a setting of a party. Chasana, bar mitzvah. Then the heterim as follows. You do it. By the way, there's another heter the Ramo brings. The Ramo brings when you're allowed to do it when it's l'shem mitzvah. V'chen letzorich mitzvah gan bebayis chosun v'kal hakol shore. It's on the Tosfos he brings. So the letzorich mitzvah or the other heterim we brought, you could do it. The Gabe, people listening to a tape today. You don't put a tape only by a party. Today it's a casual thing. You hear on the radio music, you go and put a tape. So it could be, you could argue the Takonas Chazal, the Gzeres Chazal, it's not Chal B'chalala. They didn't have this. You could argue again. The Konder Rav Vosner is not. He's Machmir. He says people do it. He says I don't know. The people too much make it with all this concert, with all these things, or the tape recorder. It says I don't know. There's not much. It says that I could find for them, but it says they do it. I just want to conclude again. There's a bunch of heterim that I just want to say something that's brought in the sefira Minoge Chabad. It's brought a ma'aser from the Heilige Ruzhiner. It's brought the Gabe Take the halachas of Tisha B'av over there. It says in Ruzhin they used to have a minhag by Tisha B'av. The Chassidim used to make a spiel and they used to stand on the top of the Beis Medrash on the second floor, and everybody walks into the Beis Medrash. They put a net, and he walks on the net. They would pick him up all the way to the second, then put him down. It was part of the spiel on Tisha B'av. Just maybe they were too the Tisha was too depressive for them. They wanted to a little bit to mesameach themselves a little bit. One time the Ruzhiner himself walked in. They didn't realize, and they did the same thing. They picked him up. When they picked him up, they said that's the Rebbe. They dropped him right away. But the Ruzhiner, when he saw it, he says, "Rebbeinu Shel Olam," he says, "Looks like your kids don't want your Yom Tov of Tisha B'av, so take it away from them." So in a way, the shtickle Kav Zchus was going on today. I take it we're going overboard with those music al pi aloch. It's problematic, and a lot of the Gdolim they dealt with it. They're like Rav Moshe, the Rav Vosner. They Hanatz and clear head to make those concerts and all this. It's when the Golus. Elamai, besides all the heterim, according to some, if it's not bad songs, kosher songs, it's already lechatchila was no gzera in the regular songs. Oh, if it's shirim with brochas, it's also okay. Dvar mitzvah, it's okay. So there are heterim. However, if take bnei Yisrael don't want enough with golus already, 2,000 years, they want to really break that. Those so saying to Hashem, take away the golus, take away the golus. So that's like I said the few heterim we have during sefira, as far as if somebody have a need to listen to the music, it could listen to them.
So if I'm sitting in my office and I need my nerves,
Yeah, it says clearly it's mutter. It brings.
Put on something.
Yes, yes. It says clearly it's mutter. Yeah.